Welcome back to Dubsy Bricks for another episode of Building Mandalore in Lego. This week I'm going to carry on working on this section just here, the corridor at the bottom of this main building. Now last week I told people, give me their feedback saying that this was the best design to stick with. So thank you to all those people that have left a comment on there. It was much appreciated. And that is the design that I am going to be sticking with. So first of all, what we need to do, take this section back over to the table and let's get started. And there have been a couple of amendments to the wall section here. I decided that these panels here were too tall, so I've kept the same design as last week, with the exception of this part here is only 2 studs long as opposed to 4, but the lines are all the way around, the angles etc are the same as before, so I think that's worked out a lot better having it this way. Still got to put one tile in that gap, just notice that's missing, but I've also put these marks in here as well, which is again a little bit more accurate to the source material. Now that I've got this all built up, it's all connected on the back as well as one unit, and it's being kept at the right angle. It's taken quite a while to get it all clipped in place, but now that I've done so, I can attach this to the actual building itself and then start building all around it, including the wall that comes up here. And there is the corridor wall all in place, and really happy of how this is coming along. As you can see, I've made a start on the door frame just here. Still got to work out how I'm actually going to be doing the door just yet, but I've still got the hole there, so the mechanism should work absolutely fine. And as you can see down this end as well, the hole has now been filled in as well. So I had to replace a couple of the Technic bricks, which have got the studs onto the Technic beams, which have got the rounded ends on them. That way it enabled me to plate off that entire section over the top. So all I need to do is work out how I'm going to do the design on the floor itself. Next up, I need to put some plate across the top here, build up by a couple of bricks, and then I can put the roof section across there and then start concentrating on those doors. I had a few problems with this section just here. The cog was hitting against the wall. Tried using a smaller cog, but I thought it was just a little bit too stiff and thought it may cause problems further down the line. The easiest solution was to bring this over by 2 bricks and then just use the cog that I was originally going to use. So that's all done now, which is all good. It has meant I've had to peel all of this section off here and just bring it down by 2 studs, but it's all gone together quite nicely now, and I'm really liking how the pattern's starting to show up on the walls here. What I'm going to do now is get some light bluish grey bricks and slopes out and put another row inside the dark bluish grey on both the front and back there of the door frames, and that's just going to give it a little bit of a border to break up the dark bluish grey, as the doors themselves are going to be in dark bluish grey. So let's get these parts out and let's get to it. And here is the corridor section, all back on the actual MOC itself. And I've had a couple of problems here. I've been trying to put the roof section on and this wall keeps falling over. The supports I put on the back there, they're not kept down well enough. There's not enough support weight on top of them. So I do need to build a lot more support pillars on this, and then that'll keep everything in place. Now I have been thinking about this overnight, and I think this corridor needs to be shrunk inside. I think I need to bring it to about that area just there. And the reason being, I've got the Technic structure under this part here, and the whole idea was that I was going to carry that going up, and that was going to help keep the strength in the actual building itself. However, by doing this as I've done so, I'm not going to be able to do that, and I'm very concerned that when I lift this building in and out, there's very few bricks on this bottom section here to keep it all together and nice and strong. So I think it's going to be in my best interest to shrink that corridor just a little bit, just so I can get that in. I'm still going to be able to do some storytelling down here. It's still going to look good. It's not going to look quite as impressive, but I'd sooner have a strong MOC rather than one that collapses further down the line. So let's take this section back over to the table and let's make those changes. And here is the revised corridor. These sections here, the three are a little bit smaller. I've gone down by 2 studs on them, which is helping to shrink the size of it all. And now I've just got the 2 of those with the patterns on. It would be nice to have had 3, but it still looks good all the same, I think. On the back section here, I've got some Technic beams, and they're going to the pillars, which are helping to support the wall with the ball joints on there. So again, that's all nice and strong now. It's probably about 100 times stronger than it was yesterday. So what I need to do now is put the door frame back in here, put the fake door on the back there, because that one won't be opening, and then once I've done that I can start putting the roof section back on here. But now the plates are removed from this part just here, I can continue to build the Technic structure up, which is going to help keep the strength in the building. And that's the roof section on top of the corridor, and I've used 4 of the art plates and a few Technic bricks there as well. There is one light that is fed through into here, and I've put an orange, trans orange stud on the end of it, so hopefully it's going to give it a nice glow inside there once it's all lit up. Continue to build a Technic beam up in the centre here, and that's what the building's going to be attached to, trying to keep everything as connected as possible. And again, as you see at the back there, more support beams, just trying to make the building as sturdy as possible. Now these Technic beams here are all connecting the ball joint pieces to the wall, so it's all keeping it all nice and compressed. And the corridor itself, I'm really happy with how that's actually come out. Shrinking it, I think, was definitely the right way forward, and I think it's about the right size for what I was looking for on there, but still need to design the doors that are going to go on the front and back there. The next section I want to work on is the actual floor inside of the corridor here, and I've put together a Snot Technique floor, and it all just rests on the floor, and there are 4 sections to that. And I've got it as close as I could get to the source material. I'm really pleased with how the lines have come out on the floor there. And what I'll be doing as well is putting these plates with tiles on the ends, and that's just going to keep everything in place. It's going to stop it from sliding. Now inside of the corridor on the side there are 3 bits that protrude, and again I've just put a couple of plates together with the grill pieces on the top, and again that's just going to fill the gap inside there. And there is the floor of the corridor all in place. I'm really happy with how those lines are looking on there. I think it's pretty accurate to how you see it in the Clone Wars episodes. What I will be doing is changing a couple of the bricks over to a snot brick or 2, just so I can stand minifigures up and they don't fall over when I'm filming. What I want to do is put a couple of extra things in here at the very end, like crates or a speeder, or just a couple of added details on there. But that's something for much further down the line. Really looking forward to getting the doors put on the MOC as well. I think that's going to be really good once it's in there, covering up all those Technic beams at the back. And again, still need to work out what I'm going to be doing with the mechanisms on the front here. Next up, I want to work on the outside of the front here, and I want to put the door frame in. It's not going to be the same shape as here. It's just going to come up, go across, along, down at an angle, and then down to the bottom there. However, I want it to be dark bluish grey on the walls and light bluish grey on the inside of it, and possibly with a border going around the outside edge as well. So I'm just going to have a little bit of an experiment using the snot bricks, tiles and plates, and see what we can come up with. And there is the start of the door frame around the entrance to the corridor. Now I am going to peel off the plates that are inside here and put a modified plate sticking out. That's going to allow me to put a 1x1 light bluish grey tile on there. Those 2 will stick out by half a plate more than the rest. However, I think it's going to look better than leaving it as it is at the moment. So I'm going to make those amendments, put the tiles on the inside there, and just see how it all comes together. And that's the doorway all finished off, and the corridor has been extended with the lines coming along there using the snot technique. Just put a couple of tiles on this snot brick on the front here. However, I'm probably going to change that out for a grill piece of some description, so it looks like a ventilation duct or something like that. I'm not sure exactly, but just want to break up the grey wall there. But really happy with how this is all coming along now. It's going to be so nice once I start doing the building that's going to be going above on that. Anyway, that's all we've got time for. Hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think could be interested in building Mandalore or building Gotham, please share the channel with them. Anyway, thanks for popping on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.